have not broken any laws. I have not violated any IRS rules or regulations, and I have not provided false information to this or any other congressional committee.
Curious testimony from way back when from Lois Lerner. With Newsmax contributor Morgan Thompson, J.D. Hayworth, welcoming you back to Newsmax Prime. You may recall that testimony in 2013 and just earlier last year as the IRS was under fire for targeting conservative groups applying for tax exemptions.
That was a big story. And a new report out says the IRS is taking steps to stop the targeting of those conservative groups. But now one man claims he was targeted by the IRS. And not only that, he says he can prove it was a Democratic-led conspiracy.
That man joins us now via Skype. He is none other than Wayne Allyn Root. Wayne is the former vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party back in 2008, a frequent political commentator and blogger. Wayne Allyn Root, it is great to have you here on Newsmax Prime.
Hey, thank you, JD and Morgan. And don't forget, one of the reasons I was targeted, a national best-selling author in my book, The Ultimate Obama Survival Guide, got Barack Obama, I think, really, really annoyed. I got under his skin. I think that might have something to do with why I wound up being targeted. And
so you were targeted, and your initials notwithstanding, when were you first suspicious that the IRS was going to declare WAR war on you?
Well, you know, it's funny, JD, because literally a month ago in the Wall Street Journal, there was a big article and they interviewed two of the important spokesmen and officials in the IRS. And they said, if you ever get a call from the IRS about an audit, hang up the phone because it's a scam. The IRS never calls anyone. They send you a letter. Well, my audit began with not only a phone call, but then a second phone call, and then a third phone call to my accountant, my CPA, who said in his whole life, in 30 years, with his father being a top IRS executive, he'd never heard of any IRS agent calling someone at home and then calling their accountant. And the tone of the agent was so strange and asked such weird questions. He said to me, "You've got a big problem. There's something wrong here, war."
Now, Wayne, obviously there's clearly something wrong here. You won that, and then you were audited again shortly after that. What on earth did you think when that came about?
Well, in between, there was one step I do want to mention real quick. So after the IRS agent spoke to my accountant said, "You can never call Wayne Root again because I have his power of attorney. So you're forbidden to call him. You'll only deal with me." They hung up the phone. 1 minute later, what does he do? He picks up the phone and calls me again. And this time I picked up. So he got me this time. And he spent 15 minutes going on a diatribe about my political views. Chapter and verse, reciting everything I've ever done, every show I've ever been on, telling me he watched me on TV and listened to me on the radio, on conservative talk radio, named all the hosts whose shows I'd been on. It's as if they would call me tomorrow and say, "Just watched you on J.D. Hayworth, now we're auditing you." It was scary. It was chilling. I got sick to my stomach. I felt like I was being stalked by someone. Very weird, and it was their attempt to intimidate me. And now I know why, guys, because when we finally won our case, then I was audited again 5 days later. My lawyer said in the history of America that's never happened. And then I finally won my second case again. And then Judicial Watch, the #1 government watchdog, took my case because they said this looks like a classic case of the Obama administration intimidating, targeting, and persecuting someone who's a critic all the time in the media.
Now, Wayne, less than 2 minutes here, so forgive me for interrupting, but once you reached out to Judicial Watch for help, how long did it take them to get your tax documents under the Freedom of Information Act?
By law, it should have taken 30 days. But the IRS took 14 months in a massive, epic struggle. We finally got him, and if there's only minutes to go, let me quickly tell you what we found. #1, we found my case was marked sensitive. JD, anyone who knows me knows there's nothing sensitive about me. I'm a bulldog. I'm a pit bull. The only word sensitive that would describe me is...
We've only got a minute left, but I want to ask you really quickly, since you were clearly targeted and I think persecuted, have you seen any sort of remuneration, anyone getting in trouble over this, or any...
It's only just begun, Morgan. It's only just begun. I've offered to testify in front of the U.S. Senate. We've handed my tax files and all my statements to the U.S. Senate investigators in the IRS scandal. All over my tax returns were notes from the IRS officers talking about my politics, all over them. And get this, a United States Senator from Oregon was involved in my case. It's written in my files. There were only 2 U.S. senators from Oregon. They were both Democrats at the time. One of them was chairman of the Finance Committee with oversight over the IRS. So this is tied to the Democratic Party. And guess the date they ended the case?
When was that?
May 23rd. 2013, the very day Lois Lerner was suspended from the IRS. Does anyone out there think this is a coincidence?
I think not. Wayne Allyn Root, to be continued, sir. We thank you for your time. Hey, when we come back, Hillary Clinton went back to high school yesterday, but her explanation of how amnesty will help our economy deserves an F. Wait till you hear it, coming up in The Way I See It. Stay with us.